10 plus years of experience with fat loss. What I'm about to tell you is going to change how you view food forever. Everything I'm going to say has a huge role in why you struggle to lose weight. So I strongly recommend staying to the end, because I guarantee you everything I mention is affecting you and everyone you know as we speak. Or I'm just being overdramatic. So let's start off with expectations and clarity. This is not a lose weight quick guide. I am not here to set you up for failure by providing you with a temporary diet only for you to revert back to your original weight or maybe gain more. If you listen to what I say, you will lose weight and keep it off. And to do that, I have to shift your mentality a little bit. Your body is the product of what you choose to do every day. So if you eat healthy and you exercise on a regular basis or for a majority of the week, your body will start to show that. What it will not show is if you choose to run for that one time for an hour after you ate unhealthy junk food for the whole week. Now, I need to clarify something. You can lose weight by eating anything and everything as long as you're in a calorie deficit. But your health and your body will just deteriorate in the long run. So I don't recommend doing this. Bit of a backstory. This is me in different periods of my life. Oh, I regret this. Jesus Christ. I grew up as a introverted gamer, and I was not popular in school. So I drowned myself in video games, chips, mama noodles, fried chicken, fast food, and even used eating as a coping mechanism to cope with my feelings during that time. Was I a traumatized child? Yes. Did I need mental therapy? Probably. Long story short, I got lost in the sauce. For more than 10 years, I tried different diets and even starved myself. And I even attempted the fat burning pills, which does not work, by the way. And as a result, I gained a food eating disorder. So whenever I saw food, I would constantly keep eating, even when I was full and I was bloated. I just couldn't stop. It was so bad. Like, it hurt not to eat just as much as it hurt not to breathe. But thankfully, I shredded all that fat off. This is me now. Here are the biggest things I learned that helped me with my fat loss. We'll start off with the human body. Cute, right? Well, for you, this is probably more realistic. Kidding. I'm joking. Don't hate me. So our gut has trillions of bacteria. Think of it as a large jungle inside of you that has a vast amount of animals trying to survive. I'll oversimplify this by putting it into two groups. The first group will be the good bacteria, and the second group will be the baddies. So each group survives off the type of food that you eat. So when you eat unhealthy, it feeds the unhealthy bacteria, while the healthy food feeds the good bacteria. The problem is that unhealthy food has become prevalent in today's society. It is so cheap and convenient that it is being consumed on a regular basis. And when you constantly eat that way, your body actually starts producing more of the bacteria that feeds off that food. And this ends up happening. All the baddies start overpowering the good bacteria. So all you have to do is eat more healthy food to reverse this, right? Yes, but it's complicated, just like every relationship nowadays. Do you ever have random cravings of pizza and ice cream? You just randomly think of it and you're like, damn, I really want some of that. That's what she said. Well, guess what? That's actually not you that's craving all this junk food. Turns out these are the culprit behind your cravings. Certain bacteria can produce chemicals that make your body crave specific food. And here's the best part. They are responsible when you feel happy while eating unhealthy, and at the same time, disgusted and nauseous when you eat healthy food. This is why you struggle so much with diets. There's also another huge factor behind this, which I'll mention in a bit. But how do you fix this? There are two types of foods that you can eat. One is the probiotic food, which contains good bacteria. This can be found in kimchi, yogurt, and kombucha. The second type of food is prebiotic, which feeds the good bacteria. This can be found in asparagus, bananas, berries, mushrooms, and garlic. The best way to succeed in doing this is you have to start incorporating more prebiotic and probiotic food into your meal. So just to start it easy, from now on, try to eat at least one container of yogurt each and every day without fail. And once you get used to that, slowly remove the junk food and replace it with a good food. You'll start to naturally crave more healthy food as time passes, and you realize that your urges for the junk food will start to lessen. Now, this is not a diet, and this should be food that you enjoy, something that you can see yourself eating every single day. That is the whole point of it, which is why I recommend starting with yogurt, because it is good. Another thing is you can start working out. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, even when you're sitting down doing nothing. And the last and one of the most important thing is that you have to give yourself permission to cheat, but only a little bit. I've had countless friends, myself included, I'm guilty of this, where I went cold turkey, and when I was going on a streak, I finally just broke. I couldn't take it anymore, and I ate something just a little bit just to cheat, right? And I started going on the cycle of self-pity. Kept thinking to myself, what's the point? I'm never gonna lose weight. And I just overate like crazy after I cheated, and I gave up entirely. And that's because I didn't give myself permission to cheat. So this is important. Do this, okay? Just give yourself permission to cheat a little bit. We're only human. Now, on to the next big factor. BPA, short for bisphenol A, or bisphenol A, however you want to pronounce it. I made my own name for it, which will help you remember it very easily. Be paranoid always, because you should be with all the shit they put in our food. Now, why should you be paranoid? Because it leads to ADHD, anxiety, depression, breast cancer, erectile dysfunction, infertility, obesity, and even cancer. And that's not even the full list. Now, if you're a guy and watching this is very important. BPA stimulates an enzyme called aromatase that converts your testosterone into estrogen, which can lead to gynecomastia, and that is the large man boobs. And it's very common in young boys nowadays. Now, this is definitely something that we want to avoid, right? And that's the issue. BPA can be found in food inside plastic containers, receipts, and even your regular water bottles. So it's pretty much everywhere. Multiple studies claim that there isn't a significant amount that can cause harm, but what they don't take into account is how often we're exposed to it. We have pretty much come into contact with it almost every single day since we were born, and that definitely adds up. That's years of exposure. Is it possible to avoid it altogether? In my opinion, it's damn near impossible. So the next best thing you can do is just minimize your exposure to it. So the best way is to avoid BPA. Throw away all the plastic that you have, even if it says BPA free. There is continuous evidence published stating that these BPA alternatives actually do the same amount of damage to your body, if not worse, than BPA itself. Now, the cooking appliances you should be using are glass, porcelain, and stainless steel. You can also invest in a carbon water, reverse osmosis, or alkaline filter. And also, to help fight this, eat more cruciferous vegetables. Some examples are Brussels sprouts, kale, and cauliflower. They actually help remove the chemicals out of your body. So there's another thing that I wanted to address. There are numerous occasions where Americans have visited Europe and they lost weight even though they ate the same exact type of diet. So, why do Americans lose weight when visiting Europe? There's one obvious reason, which is there's plenty of walking. Second, not so obvious, is the differences in how we grow a specific ingredient. So let's compare. Europe grows soft wheat. This ingredient right here is used to make bread, pasta, noodles, and pastries, whereas the majority of wheat grown in the US is hard red wheat. They are higher in protein, and as a result, they are also higher in gluten. Oh my god, here we go, is one of those gluten-free idiots. Yes, look, hear me out. Hear me out before you give me shit, okay? I used to be one of those people that made fun of these type of customers, but now I understand why. Gluten is a protein that our bodies cannot completely digest, and whatever isn't digested is led to our small intestines, and this can lead to celiac disease. And it is an autoimmune disease where our stomach becomes inflamed, unable to absorb nutrients. This causes bloating, blood sugar issues, malnutrition, and weight gain, which can lead to other illnesses like diabetes. One thing I have to state very clearly is that it cannot be cured, and more than 2 million Americans have it. And this does not factor in the people who aren't aware that they have it and the people that haven't reported it. Now, there is a popular phrase that my friends always used to say when they ate the food that they loved. This food is like crack. Turns out this phrase is a lot more true than they realize. You see, these type of foods right here, it activates an opioid receptor in the brain, which happens to be this exact same receptor that gets drug users addicted to heroin and pain pills. You also get your withdrawal symptoms too, depression and mood swings. And if that doesn't top it off, when you heat up this type of food, it releases a chemical called acrylamide. which is known to cause cancer. And you know you have high levels of it when you start getting sweaty, you get numb on your hands and your feet, and you can't think straight, you start getting dizzy and clumsy. Now, one thing I have to specify is that gluten itself is not the sole reason of all of this happening. It just happens to be a popular ingredient in highly processed food, which also happens to have a lot of sugar. Eating sugar makes you crave food high in sugar, and when you eat this stuff, you never feel satiated or full, and this causes you to overeat. And it also causes inflammation and joint issues. So when you start having ankle problems or knee problems, you're not getting old, you're just eating like shit. And there is sugar in almost everything, everywhere we go. And we have such an excess amount of sugar for our body to burn for energy. So what happens when your body is out of sugar? It enters a state called ketosis, which essentially is when your body runs out of sugar, it needs to lean towards the next best fuel or resource to use for fuel, which is your fat. When that happens, your fat and your weight shreds right off without you even trying. Now, the problem is that it is almost impossible for the majority of people to reach this state because we are constantly exposed to gluten, carbs, and sugar everywhere we go. You go to the gas station or restaurant, it only takes one thing, one little snack. And once you finish it, your body cannot reach this state. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. So here are the key takeaways. Slowly start eating more healthy. So put a little bit more probiotic and prebiotic food into your meals. Like just sneak it in with your unhealthy food little by little and try to put more and more as time passes by. Avoid plastic as much as possible. Remove processed and junk food from your diet completely. You do not need this type of food in your diet. It is killing you. Start working out and walking, like at the park or in the sun. Now the reason for that is because when we eat food that is high in sugar, that's highly processed, it releases this chemical called dopamine, which makes us happy. And that's one of the reasons why we get so addicted to eating that. So when you work out or walk at the park, you release that same type of chemical. So you lower the chances of you leaning towards all that unhealthy junk just to feel happy. And this also takes a lot of time too. So you have less time to eat all that unhealthy junk. And the most important thing, and last thing, is that all of this thing right here, all of these changes are something that you should see yourself doing every single day. That's why I recommend doing it a little bit at a time, because this should be a lifestyle, right? And not something that you just jump into and force yourself to do, because it takes a lot of effort if you do it that way, and you already have so much stress and anxiety from life itself. So everything right here should start to feel natural, and that's the best way that you can succeed in all of this. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, and I hope I provided some type of value for you. Hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.